Welcome to Legacy Conversations, a channel where we preserve military memories and history.
Hello everyone, welcome here to Legacy. I'm excited because, when we were in South Africa, we went to different places and we were treated very well. And one of the places we went to was Cape Town, which is not a particularly favorite destination for me. But Rebecca really loved it there very much. And we lived in Simonstown. Had a very nice Airbnb with two wonderful hosts as well. Really great people. And we could look over the bay all the time. And often we would see the Navy ship, the frigate, the SAS Amatola, which would sail out and then sail back in. It was an amazing sight. It was really something which I will remember for the rest of my days. It's very ironic because I wrote a book, I think codenamed Phoenix, where we actually sink that very same ship. Fictional, of course, but there's always a reason why I write these things. I don't write books just for entertainment. I also write books to warn. And it is so that I became aware of plans which terrorists have to actually sink such ships, to get the old Q ship principle back into a fore. It wasn't used for a couple of decades, but the idea would be to get this ship close, and if you can get it close enough, you open fire. Well, it's got no armor, and if you hit the right spots and you can take out the essential spots on it with anti-tank rockets, I'm fairly convinced that you can actually severely damage such a ship, even sink it. It's possible. That's why I wrote the book. It's to warn. But I was very glad to see the ship still sailing around. I'm proud of our Navy, man. I really love our Navy. I have no problem with the Navy. I hear all the rumors, all the stories, and yes, in this series of the Naval Museum, we have Admiral Angel Soderland speaking to us. He's also the man in charge of a submarine, or part of a submarine, SAS Assegai, the old Johanna, as they called her. This is now a museum ship, and it's about to open, probably open by the time you see this video. And if you're ever close to Simonstown Naval Base, please go and look at that submarine as well. It's well worth your time. It's a fantastic effort, and we were really treated well by the Admiral as well as the naval staff. We had no problems whatsoever. At one stage, we got lost, and we ended up with a Navy diving school, or where they train the divers anyway. Very fit-looking men standing around there, I must tell you. And totally professional, of course, what you expect of a Navy. And they were very kind, very friendly, even at the gates. Everybody was just thoroughly military professionals. There's no other word for it. There's fantastic people. I understand now if you wish to join the South African Navy, which is small, but professional, once again, that word, you need to have mathematics as well as science at a fairly high degree. Otherwise, they won't even look at you. And of course, to go onto the ships, or even more than that, the submarines, and so you really need to be something very special. But we were there to record the Naval Museum, and they had absolutely no problem with us. In fact, they gave me a whole bunch of mementos, which I will at the future show you in another video, because I still have to frame it and put it in my study and everywhere. It's like really nice little gifts and things we got as we went along. And we decided that we're going to make very short clips, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, sometimes a little bit less even, to show you different parts of a Naval Museum at Simonstown. And I did that on purpose, and I did that because I want to get you to go there. I don't want to show everything in one video, and it is very nice, and we don't get the publicity for the museum, which we actually want to get. And so the Admiral was kind enough to stand there right next to the exhibits, and he would explain to us what it's about. I think at some stage I started annoying him because I kept on saying that I donated 500 rands, and I expect you people to match me doing that. And if you can, of course. Just to raise funds. Because, guys, I've been to several museums now. I've been to the one in Tetsolo or Tetsong, as we call it, at Saxon World in Johannesburg. I've been at the SAF in Port Elizabeth. I've been at the SAF in Swartkop. And we made fantastic videos, which is going to come out. And, they all say to me the same thing. They say, Koos, you know what? We don't really get the support what we should get from government, and they have other priorities, which we understand and respect. Therefore, it is up to us as veterans and as those who care to do something. And to do something means to donate money or to donate your time or donate your skills. If you want to go to one of these museums and assist, then please contact these people. Their details would be in every single video where we talk about that particular museum. Just get involved. You can't sit back here and not get involved. You have to volunteer now. You have to stand up, because this is your heritage. This is the actual machines and actual history. You can stand there and you can actually touch them. It is fantastic. And of course, those of you who've seen Rebecca's video, which she made, where we spoke about South Africa until she left on the 10th of December to come back home here to Thailand. I was still another 6 weeks in the country. She, she sort of didn't mention it, but I made sure to mention it. As you walk into the Naval Museum downstairs, then you'll see there's like an air raid bunker. Yeah, go and look at that thing. Very, very fascinating things happen in that air raid bunker. Go there, and then if you survive it, just crawl out and then go to the actual museum, which is 2 buildings, which is, once again, for South Africa, actually weird, because you're talking about 300-year-old buildings there, at least, if my mathematics isn't completely wrong, which it might be, but it's old. But the Admiral is explaining all these things. I also decided I'm not going to make a separate video for every one of these short clips. So you're going to see the same video with me in every one of the clips, because I have the same message anyway, and it's probably longer than the actual clip, or about the same in length. Please forgive me. We are really, really busy here with videos and editing, and we are being swamped, which is a very good thing, and I'm very grateful, and all honor to God, not to me, that we are privileged to bring you the South African military history in a video format. We're really, really privileged to do that. But anyway, to make a long story short, let's quickly see what our sponsor has to say, Vic. Because as you can imagine, it cost a bit of money to make these videos. About 90,000 rands, actually. That's what we spent while we were there, including the aeroplane tickets, things like that. There's something I want to bring to your attention, and that is George M. James. That's an author. And he wrote many, many books, dozens of books, and all of them has to do with South African military, has to do with espionage, counterterrorism, that type of thing. And each of those books are written with a specific purpose. And there are 53 of them. And George M. James has been a sponsor of this channel like in forever, since the very first video came out. So whatever George M. James books you buy, come back to Legacy. And they are available on audio, they're available on Kindle, they're available in paper, hardcover and softcover. All of them are available on Amazon. Some of the books are available in South Africa as well, in softcover. And I'll leave the details here. I urge you to have a look at it. Go to the website, have a look at the website, and I'm sure you're going to discover marvelous things there. I can be very blunt to you. If you like Legacy, if you want to support Legacy, want to support us in what we do, then please go and look at the George M. James books. Get hold of them. You're going to learn things which you didn't know. And a lot of the things we've discussed on Legacy has also come out in those books. And what is fascinating, those books were written before Legacy came. So we were deeper knowledge than what I think most of us would realize. So again, guys, George M. James, go and look at it. Hello, Internet. I can tell you we're standing here and I'm excited because we're at the Naval Base in Simonstown and I've got, well, a familiar face. Admiral Soderland, also known as Angel, but you don't really like that name, sir.
It's a nickname. I got used to it.
Yes, and now we're standing here, and I must tell you that he gracefully said he will tell us what's happening in this museum. And what we're going to do in this series, we're going to make short clips of what is inside the museum, but we still expect your people to come and visit. And when you come and visit, I expect you to match me. Because when we're at the end of this series, I'm going to put 500 rands into the kitty, and then we expect you people to come here and do the same. The money will go for a good cause. They're not well funded, always.
No, the museum's got a limited budget. The Defence Force gives the Navy very little money, and they've got limited staff, so they actually have to pay for cleaners. They reliant on donations, and also the Heritage Trust, of course, which supports them as much as we can. So donations are extremely well appreciated, and it is a fantastic museum, as the people will see, I hope.
But tell me, how did this came about? I understand in a building which comes from, what, 1743?
Correct. The Naval Museum was initially at the castle in Cape Town, then it moved to Fort Vineyard. And finally, in 1993, we got the old naval buildings here, based in the building alongside us, which is the old mast house, which was built by the British in 1814. It's very interesting. It's got a clock tower with the oldest town clock in South Africa. It's over 200 years old. And they later expanded into this building, which was the original Dutch warehouse built in 1743. We're on the third floor. This was added by the British in the 1880s, but you can see the original woods and the wall structure is all very similar. This is the Mac Bissett Hall, which is named after the founder of our museum, the chap who started it all, Commander Mac Bissett.
Now, if you say to me it's a mast room, or what does it mean? There were actually a mast for the sailing ships?
It was designed opposite the boat. You can see the boat landing strip. Boats used to come in long with their masts, and they would walk it straight into the mast house. And above it was the sail loft, where they did all the sail work. And they actually carved the names of their ships into the wood, and you can still see some of that as well.
The Navy we have today, can we be proud of it?
Yes, it unfortunately is completely underfunded. The Navy try as hard as they can, but when you only get a small percentage of what you need, our ships have not been refitted for the last 10, 14 years. Like a car, they can't go to sea if they're not refitted. So we are suffering, but in some cases, the ship's companies are digging in. And Amatola, one of our ships out at sea, she has done much of this work herself.
I must tell you, people, when we arrived here from Beaufort West, it was a stormy day, and we saw the Amatola with a rainbow right around out in the False Bay.
Correct.
It was the most fantastic sight, and I've taken many pictures which I will play for you here. But the Navy has a proud tradition. I mean, they come a long way. They haven't started in 94.
Well, the Navy is based on the original South African Naval Service, which was founded in 1922, which then became the Seawood Defence Force in the war, South African Naval Forces at the end of later, and finally the South African Navy. So there's 100 years of naval tradition in South Africa.
And I'm told that you follow the British Royal Navy.
Our roots lie with the Royal Navy, as do most Commonwealth navies, and we're basically similar to them. Great understanding.
I just want to say there is an exhibition, is that the word of Louis Botha, it's the training ship.
Okay, that's a separate issue. The General Botha, South African training ship General Botha, was also founded, funny enough, on the same day, 1st of April 1922. She was anchored in the bay, and she trained merchant Navy cadets more than naval cadets. And in those days, it was a source of the Navy for many of its recruits. And amongst our admirals are at least 2 or 3 General Botha old boys, including our most famous one. And so the General Botha has a section here because of their contribution towards South Africa's Navy.
Now, Admiral, here behind us, we have something called the Sword of Peace. Can you tell me what is this about? Why?
Well, everyone thinks of the Navy as an aggressive military capability, but we also play a major part in humanitarian actions. And many years ago, in 1977, Wilkinson, the sword makers, donated the Sword of Peace to the South African Navy. And it gets awarded for the ship or unit which does the most to promote peace and humanitarian assistance. This is a list of all of them, the Sword of Peace itself, and it is interesting to see the various ships and what they've done here as well. The funny thing is that there are two ships which feature regularly. The Protea, because of her nature, she's a survey ship. She's got the ability to stay at sea for long times. She's featured at least 3 times, and I'm very proud to say the ship that I used to command also features 3 times. And one little unique incident was in 1980, she took part in the rescue of a yacht during an international yacht race under terrible conditions. At least 5 people got medals for it. And years later, in 1994, the same ship rescued another yacht, and one of the people who came on board asked what her number was. And when he was told, he says, "Good grief, second time." He was in the first one too. And she later in 97, a third rescue. So this lists all the humanitarian valor. I say valor because in some of them the conditions were rather extreme. We rescued vessels when in distress, and they were in distress because of the weather in most cases.
What's the importance of a Navy? Why should we have one?
Well, the Navy is a deterrent, and if you bear in mind that South Africa's got more territorial water than land mass, plus we've got dependencies further south, which are very critical to us, Marion Island and the Prince Edward Island, plus the fact that something like 86% of all our imports and exports go by sea. You can't fly in ores and coals and things like that. So it's a critical part. And by having a Navy, it's a deterrence. Submarines, for example, nobody messes with a Navy with a submarine. You never know where it is, but it's a deterrence and protects our economy.
And the sea route from an international viewpoint, from a Suez or...
That's not our responsibility. Funny, you should say that. Everybody talks about this British sea route. That was dated in the old days with the Suez Canal. But we reap the benefits of that in a way. We have a lot of shipping around our coast. Doesn't pay much difference because other than refueling and revitling, they pass on their way.
Okay, thank you. And now we're done with the first episode, guys. I want you to follow the series. Please follow the series. And if you're around Cape Town, please come and visit. Also go online. You'll find the museum here.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.